I'm Rich Dragotta, and I built my practice my way. I'm in the business for 27 years, and I'll be celebrating my 18th year at LPL. I started with a training program with a wirehouse. Went through one of the more first formal training programs at Mother Merrill, and really came out of school. Didn't know much about financial services. I knew a little about Merrill Lynch and didn't know a lot about what it was to be an advisor. And I hurled myself out of school in an administrative role, and then expanded to getting into one of the first classes where I did get some formal training. I was sitting in my manager's office, and there was a magazine cover, and we were talking strategically about what the future may hold. And so I saw this magazine. It said LPL Just Getting Bigger. It was 2002, and Todd Robinson was on the cover, and I didn't even know what that meant, other than I took the magazine off of his desk after I left, and I started to read about what an independent model was. For all my career, I was the poster boy for a wirehouse model. So, I guess in hindsight, I broke away before the word breakaway advisors really existed. I still have that cover in my office today to remind me how it all started. I showed up at LPL, like I said, it was 2003. I knew nothing about the difference between broker-dealers and independent models. And so at the time, I could remember the numbers. They were 3,800 advisors. They were just about to hit 750 million in revenue, and that was a big deal for any kind of independent broker-dealer. And really, they were on top of the charts then. When I started out, the vision was, I'll use a phrase, it's lonely being alone. Maybe that's a yogiism, but I had a vision, and the vision was simple. It was a vision to say there were barriers of entry. As I looked into the independent model, there were things or barriers that you took for granted when you were as a captive employee. And I looked at that and said a couple of things. One, I like being around people. I like being part of a team. I like helping people and leading people in different ways. And I did that, or played that role, at my former employer. So it was a natural fit. I figured if I built the infrastructure and alleviated some of the local barriers early on, that just like the old movie, if you build it, they will come. The infrastructure started as a base of a solid value proposition, and I continue to expand it now. So it was about community, it was about being around people, it was about really offering some of my skill sets and talents in managing or helping people manage their business. And that was really what my passion was. As I started to attract folks that had the same mindset and had the same ambitions as I did, I would say probably 3 or 4 plus years into it, as the group got larger and larger, I guess I was daydreaming and thought about what this is really evolving into. And it's about economy of scale. It's about power in numbers. It's about being independent, but also being right together as a community. It was the best of both worlds of what I saw evolving, which was a way to be part of a group and leverage that economy of scale, infrastructure, and being around and sharing ideas, and also being independent. And so, whether that's an oxymoron or something, it's a unified independence is really what resonates, and in a lot of ways, it would contradict what people would think, right? How could you be unified and be independent? Thus, Inc. Advisors is the independent network of consultants and advisors, and again, everyone runs their own business, but I play on that idea of incorporated, right, under an umbrella. People have come, in my opinion, for the same reason I came. The stories are different, but the one uniformed word is wanting to be in control. The payouts are great, the services, the products are great. They can do their business here, but the underlying reason is they want to be in control. When you're under a corporate agenda, when you are now, just another number or truly an employee, that doesn't mean it's bad, but you have to admit that as an employee to a major company, you lose some of that control. When you jump over the wall to independence, there's no agenda anymore. It's your agenda. And you really do get that control back. Sometimes so much that it's too much control. You don't know how to use it. Anytime you get to make your own decisions completely, and you get to decide what the agenda is, and you're accountable for your own success or not, I think that raises the bar, and advisors, I could remember when that was somewhat like that when I first started in the wirehouses, and I saw it evolve, and the culture of that became less, and you had less choice, and it's just not fun being under someone else's agenda. Change is unsettling, but if change is in the right direction and you're passionate about it, it's really something that you simply have to execute on. I was an early embracer of really going, quote, going independent. People didn't know what I was doing. They felt bad for me. They said, you're leaving what? You're losing your salary. I was a manager, and leaving my salary and my bonuses and my security to go out there and, go independent with who? And so, it does take an entrepreneurial spirit even today. Breaking away is a tough proposition for some folks, but those that really embrace it and embrace change and are passionate about it, then it's just really simply executing on it, and then you have your freedom, and hopefully you're happy. And the way I see things, you're either growing or contracting. There isn't any in between. Complacency kills, in my opinion. So many people jump over the wall or start a business and they don't have an exit strategy. They don't have a, when do I evaluate it? And I think you can apply that even today to any growing advisor. You don't keep doing the same things. What is it? Insanity is repeating the same things that aren't working. So, the way I looked at it is I had a business plan, I had an exit strategy if my vision didn't, come through. And, fortunately, I judged myself in terms of hitting checkpoints of growth of what I was looking for. The industry, continues to change and evolve. I guess in really starting when I started in the industry, fee-based management, advisory business, consultative business, SMA business was really in its infancy. So I came in at a great time because really it was probably the first real decade of change. Pre that, it was the traditional business for the last couple of decades, and I could remember, it was more of a purely transaction business. I was that first generation that a transition was occurring, and it was in its infancy, but little did we know that the vision was there and that it would evolve to more of an advisory business. And again, even being in the independent side, it continues to evolve. It continues to evolve really to more and more of a consultative business. And I always really try to make a differentiator. I think where it's really evolving is from being an asset manager to a wealth manager. And neither one of them is good or bad. Most advisors are asset managers, and it's a great career, and they provide a great service. But I think the growing advisors, and where I see the evolution continue, is really making that transition and that view of being a wealth manager and the services, the ancillary services that expand that relationship, not just from asset management, but really holistic wealth management. I think about what I was doing 18 years ago. I think about what I should be doing now. And through that time, really my value proposition didn't start anywhere close to where it is now. And over time, it's kind of moved with the times. And I think those that are early embracers and are thinking about the future and are in the forefront, usually the early bird catches the worm, and an early embracer, as I was, really was the recipient of what was or what is now, in my opinion, a evolution or revolution of the advisor. Technology is really, in my opinion, a key driver to being in control, to being able to do business. Efficiencies come from technology. I think it's really the reason why LPL is where they are now, is their commitment over the last decade and their continued commitment in terms of evolving with technology, not being behind, but being in the forefront of it. So technology is important. I think there are some unique areas and services that really allow us to have more control of our business. I love marketing. You can get really creative, and LPL is there to guide you through the regulatory requirements. Really just having all of the products and services out there and available, not having a shelf space of what we can and can't do. I really feel, they've done a great job in allowing and being open to really almost to be able to compete in this competitive marketplace. You really need to have all sorts of solutions, whether you utilize them or not. The thing I'm proud about is some of those sophisticated solutions comes with more regulatory scrutiny, and we've even taken some bumps along the way, but that didn't mean we abandoned it. We believed in being really a broad service firm that offered different solutions, and whatever things we needed to keep those services and products available. Yeah, my value proposition, I think, from a unique perspective, it's really about advocacy. It's really about community. It's about having a genuine interest in helping people run their businesses. It's being visible, being available, and not forgetting, as I'm an advisor, not forgetting why I came here is to be independent, not to create this hierarchy of what I left, but to really work with advisors in a way where it's their business, they're in control, and really I'm kind of the chief operating officer to what has now been, over 100+ businesses. It's a great win for both.